Hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. Thank you for joining me today. This is Chris Haughey at Cupboard Distributing, live with Create with Chris. So today we are going to do a fun fat cat project. So cool cats and kittens, join in. If you are a cat lover, you're going to love today's project. Let me give you a sneak peek here. Oops, there we go. Well, maybe. Okay, this is what we are going to be doing today. So let me introduce myself. I am Chris Haughey. I am the founder and owner of Cupboard Distributing, Pixelated Palette Easing, CD Stencils, the Scrapbook Outlet. I'm a designer, an artist, and love to paint, craft, and create. So as much as I love doing all these fun things, I enjoy sharing as well. So today we're trying to decide what would be a fun project to do, and we have a brand new stencil that we created at CD Stencils, and I just thought I had to do something. It was so adorable, and if you are a cat lover, I know you're going to agree. So let's go over here. Cats are the best therapists in the world, and if you have a cat, you understand this 100%. So let's go ahead and get started. I am using, this is a brand new piece that we just cut, and we do manufacture our own wood shapes. And this is an MDF surface, and you can use this either way. So if you're a righty or a lefty, it won't matter on this. This is our paw print stencil. We're going to be using that as well. And I love the fact that this has different types of paw prints in it. So if you're a dog lover, a cat lover, some of these even look like other critters. So this is just a really versatile, be great for camping, woodland animals. You know, this can go on and on and on. This is a great stencil. And then the fat cat stencil. Now, what I really love about this is not only do you get this little saying, but you also get this shape. And which means that you don't have to have the wood cutout shape if you don't want it. You can use this, put it on any surface. You could even put it on like a heavy stock paper and frame it. I thought it would be fun even on a, make sure my palette is dry there. This is a canvas board. You know, you could pop it right in the middle of this canvas board. This is one of those wood panels. You could put it on there. Not only would it be really cool to stencil this on here, but I like the dimension where you just lay it on top. I think that's a great look. And I was thinking you could take the paw print stencil and put it in the background and then layer the cat on top of it. So there's a kind of endless different things that you can do with this too. Actually, it's just truly versatile. Alrighty. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the chalky gesso. And I've just really rather fallen in love with chalky gesso. Gesso is not a new product if you're not familiar with gesso. This is what artists use to put on canvas to help shrink it, make it more taut, make it more solid. Kind of fills in the holes and sands smooth. So the more gesso you put on a piece of linen or canvas, the smoother it will become. Now if you're putting it on a wood surface, the same is true. So I can put it on the wood surface, lightly sand it. I'm going to get a silky, silky smooth finish on it. Now, Deco Art doesn't just make white gesso, and they don't just make black gesso. They make tan gesso, they make gray gesso, they make dark gray gesso, and this is one of my favorites. It's a light green, and it's kind of that farmhouse minty green that's so popular right now. So you can swap the background out and use any of these gessos. They're just fabulous to work on. It's a little more opaque, a little heavier bodied than your average acrylic paint. so it's going to go on a little bit stronger. You won't need as many base coats, and because it already has the tint to it, I don't even need to put a color on top of it. So I'm going to be using the beige, and because I like to kind of work quickly and not spend a lot of time with the boring things, I'm going to be using a roller. Let me get this off of here. I rolled it a little bit earlier today. I used my roller, so I haven't cleaned it up. But this is a 4-inch roller. These things are fabulous. If you don't have one and you're doing a lot of base coating, oh my goodness, this thing is going to save you literally hours of work. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to put it on the back of this one. And I'm just going to put a little bit of paint or gesso on my palette. And I'm just going to take my roller and work through it. Now, I've found out that if you start out with a dry roller, you're going to lose a lot of product because it's just going to soak up inside of that dry sponge. So if you lightly dampen your roller and scrunch it in a paper towel to get any excess moisture off, because you're not going to get a good base coat if it's all thinned down. And I do have a paper towel underneath just to kind of protect my tabletop. I am not pressing really hard because I want to keep those edges, you know, how you have the rolls going over. So I just have a light touch. I'm going over and over and over. You can see if it's covering well. Zoom in a little bit. And normally what I would do, I'm still not pressing hard. I'd put a couple light coats on as opposed to one heavy coat. You can sand in between. But just in that short amount of time, that is covered. And it's covered very well. Now, gesso's no different than any other type of paint. As it dries, it's going to shrink a little bit. So you may have some areas where it may open just a touch. And that's not anything that has to do with the gesso. It just needs a second coat. But think about this. I have this lighter color on this darker wood, and that easily, oh my goodness, it has just, we've got it base coated just like that. So, wow. Time saver, I'm telling you. These rollers are fantastic. And I had to do some, we replaced our front window in our house, so I had to repaint the wall and the front door, and I used that roller on my front door, and I have no brush strokes. It looks fantastic. Okay, I did another one so I don't have to wait on this to dry. So I'm going to get that one out, and it is ready to go. And I'm going to put my paw print stencil on it. Now, there's no rhyme or reason how you place a stencil, but pay attention to like the tips of the ears. I don't want a little half paw print like on the edge and having a flat spot. So I'm just going to kind of make sure that the areas that you see are pretty much not centered, but these paw prints up here, I brought them down just a little bit so they wouldn't hang over the edge. And I am using Pebble. And it's just a shade darker than the tan. Kind of a newer color, and it has that earthy tone to it. So it's very similar to, they call it grayish, where it has a little bit gray and a little bit of tan in there. All right. And I am using my Spectacular stencil brush, and I talk about these a lot. And one of the reasons I talk about them a lot is because they are so amazing. They're spectacular, I should say. They come in 3 sizes. This is a number 5, and I'll show you the difference. This is a number 4. I want to cover a large area, so I'm going with the bigger brush. And I did use it earlier, so I'm going to, what's really nice about these, you can wash them out and go on to the next color. You don't have to wait for it to dry. So I'm just towel drying it a little bit to get any excess moisture out. loading it onto my brush. Now I really want to work it into the bristles. You don't want just to get a dab of paint on the tip. You want to work that in there. We don't want a heavy, heavy stencil. We just want that light background design. I'm going to take and wipe that excess off. And no, I'm not wiping it all off, but I want to see how light that is on her. It's going to have a very, very light touch. I always tell you to anchor down your stencil, but the thing is here, I have no edges to anchor it to, so I'm just going to have to hold it. Very light swirl. Just kind of dance across there. Now, it doesn't look, let me go in a little bit, doesn't look like I'm doing much. But what's fun, you can always take a peek, and look how strong that is. I mean, it's a lot stronger than it looks when you're just lightly going across it. I just tapped a little more off. It's a little stronger than I want. I just want a dry brush. And you can see how quickly I can go across here and just kind of swirl over that. I can always go back and add more. A little bit tough to go in and take it off, but if I want to lighten that up, I'll show you how I do that. Just a light swirl. Now you notice I've not reloaded my brush. Still getting plenty of color here. And as long as you anchor your stencil down, not move it around, you can always go and lift it up, take a peek, and see if you need to do any areas a little more, a little bit stronger. And I'm not going to put anything on the tail because, let me go a little bit, well, okay, there we go. I don't know if you can see the tail down here. It says then that it's not going to have a full imprint, so we're just going to let the tail be. And lift that up, check it out, and I think we're good there. Now, if I think some of these are a little bit strong, I can go in with a soft grit sandpaper, just lightly pounce or sand over that. And it's going to not only lightly lift the color, but it just softly gives it a little bit of distress. For this type of background, it's a super fun look to have. So in order to make it look like I did these too dark and sanded it, I'm just going to kind of sand over the whole thing and lightly distress it. And I did forget to mention, after you get the gesso on, make sure you do go back and sand it because you want to get that smooth finish. All right, just like that, we have this really kind of cute little background. This is a fun design. I was thinking that you could do it in any color decors. You could do it in blues, aquas. So if you have a friend that is a cat lover that you want to create this for, or if you wanted to do a craft show and do like a whole bunch of them, it'd be fun to do different colors, and that way it wouldn't matter one color or another is going to catch somebody's eye. All right, if you're fussy about centering, get the ruler out. I'm kind of an eyeballer here. Now this I will anchor down because I do have a place to anchor it. I want to make sure that it's about the same length from the top and the bottom. I do measure with my fingers a lot. Make sure same thing on each side. You can kind of tell if it's even. It's a little bit too far to the left. We'll scoot over a touch. Now's the time to make sure it's in the right place. Because I want this font to really stand out, I'm going to go with a lamp black. If you want, whatever you want to be your focal point, that's what color you need to make the strongest. And this is lamp black. Just going to go in. For the sake of time, I'm not going to clean my brush out. I'm just going to get another one here. I'm loading it well again with lamp black, working that paint into the bristles. Now, if you get too much paint on the tip of your brush, when you go to stencil, that's when it runs under and you get those jaggedy edges. Okay. 2 light coats is always best than 1 heavy coat. Usually I work left to right. Today I started at the top. I don't know why, but I guess just to let you know, it really doesn't matter. I am pouncing. I'm not rubbing. I am pouncing because I want this color to be crisp and clean right on the edges. In my mind, if I go straight down, those edges are sharp. It's going to get a straight down pounce with those bristles. You're going to get that straight edge on it. And you can always peek underneath to see what kind of an imprint. That looks pretty good. And this one I am reloading. Now, even though I always go back and double check and wipe it over a paper towel just to make sure. I don't want to get too much paint on there. It's kind of a real stinker to try to get those edges cleaned up. And we can go back with a liner brush and clean them up, but if you are careful and take your time as you go through this process, you'll save yourself a lot of work cleaning up. Patience, I know. It's the hardest life lesson, isn't it? And there's 2 little paw prints on each side of this. You could even take those and kind of add them in other places just for a little more decoration. And get some more paint. And I'm just going to go down the length of what's left. It's almost kind of magical to watch this fill in. Again, you can use different colors. If you had a blue theme, you might go with like a dark Payne's gray lettering, just to kind of keep leaning toward those blue tones. Same thing for greens. You could go with the dark forest greens or the midnight greens. Soft black would be a great color. If you don't have gesso and you want to just give a nice base coat, I still do recommend that you seal your surface with multi-surface. I use the DecoArt multi-purpose sealer. It is a wood product. No matter what you do, take time to prep your surface correctly. I would seal it with the multi-purpose sealer, let it dry, give it a quick sand, and then layer on my acrylic paint. You can still use the roller to do that. And I will tell you also that because that chalky paint is so heavy, keep that in mind when you're washing it down your kitchen drain. You don't want to let it build up there and create a problem. I notice in the bottom of my water basin, when I use the gesso, I have a lot more sediment. And I always think, gosh, that's a great product. No wonder it covers super well. Okay. And again, for the sake of time, I am not going to go back and give a second coat, except right there I see a spot. Just going to lift it up and peek. Oh, that's so cute. Now, to clean your stencil, I use the wipes, or you can lay it back in the bottom of your sink. You do have to be careful when you have all these little tiny letters. You don't want to go in and scrub it and lift those up. So because we are decorative painters, I mean, this is cute, but because we are painters, you know, there's always that one more thing that you can do to just really elevate it and make it look super cool. So I thought it would be fun to go back, and you can see the difference between the shaded. Let me go in. It won't let me do it with this hand. There we go. What a difference the shading around the outer edge makes. Huge difference. So, and it only takes a second if you use the correct tools. And I have this, it won't let me do that. I think my stand is in the place where, okay. Maybe I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Technology. It's amazing, but sometimes it absolutely drives me crazy. I am using the 3/4 inch angle. This is a Moderna brush. It's not very expensive. It's like $4.99. Lindsay, is that right? Lindsay's on the other end, so if you have any questions, she will give you all the information. So I'm not going to give a price, but it's really a very affordable brush, and it's truly a workhorse. I love big brushes because I'm not super patient, not only for that reason, but I think if you can cover the area more quickly and more smoothly and you don't have to reload as often, you're going to get a nicer result. I'm not a smooth painter. Did I tell you I stenciled this in Pebble? If not, I stenciled that in Pebble. I'm going to shade around the edge with charcoal gray. You can also use burnt umber, which is a beautiful color. Any dark color, we just want to get that hint of darkness. And loading the toe of my brush. It's pretty wet. It's not drippy wet, but can you see, let me go up a little bit. Can you see how much moisture I'm pulling out? I like to have enough moisture in my brush so I have time to work with my paint. If you're in a very arid area where you don't have a lot of moisture, your float time is very limited. And I'm just going to scoot around the edge. See how quickly I can go with that 3/4 inch angle. And I can go back and work these areas and kind of smooth them in. Just super, super quick. I'm not going to fuss too much. I can go back and add a second coat. And that gives me time to get this on the first time around, take a look at it, and see if I need to go back and add that second coat. I'm telling you what, this makes a huge difference, yes? Just that little bit of paint, my motto, a little bit of paint makes a big difference. And I call this the magic that we can create by being decorative painters. So we've taken that little fat cat and by just adding that shading around the edge, wow, what a huge difference. So we have been painting for, or I've been on live for 22 minutes. I don't think we've been painting for that long. And we've kind of created this very, very quickly. Fun project. The kids, my grandkids love to use stencils because it makes them look good. So it's a great project for the kids as well. Remember, you can do this in any color. You can see how much just those little bit of design, a little bit of shading enhances it and makes it a fun project to work on. So I did want to talk just a little bit more. We're going to set this aside. The only thing that I would do would be to seal it with the, I like the matte spray sealer from DecoArt. Once it dries, you can do a brush on, or golly, you can even use your roller to kind of put a nice finish on it. But hang a cute little ribbon, find one with paw prints on it, would be adorable. Okay, so this is finished. We've got our varnish on it, and I'm going to go back to me for a little bit. I wanted to share with you, we've got our Summerfest coming up, and due to all this craziness that's going on, we have switched it to a Zoom seminar, and our classes were capped out, and some of the classes were selling out and sold out, but we today increased the size of our classroom. So I'm excited to share with you. And this one, let me get this on here correctly. We'll go this way, sorry. No, everything's backwards on these cameras. It kind of drives me crazy. All right, this is the vintage pumpkin, and it had actually sold out. So now I am excited to announce that, let's go back this way. This is, again, we have open seating for this. This is such a fun project, guys. This background, And I'm always encouraging you to play because that's how I created this amazing background. Just truly a fun technique, super simple. You're going to impress yourselves with what you learn in this class. The class comes because we're doing it Zoom. What's going to happen is we're going to send all a class kit ahead of time. This class, you're going to get the surface, the instructions, the line drawings. Everything is available on, if you go to Cuthbert Distributing's website, www.cdwood.com, go to Summerfest, and everything is listed. So you'll know exactly what you're getting a great deal for the money. I'm telling you, this is going to be such a fun time. Sandy McTeer is joining me, so we're going to be having some great techniques. She does a lot of new fun front edge kind of design, so she's always working with new product as well. Super time. Okay. This one I had so much fun with. The bird is actually a stamp, and the flowers down here are stamps. I did create the barn siding technique on the birdhouse, which is a super fun design, dimensional star. So this little class, or this class, has a lot of techniques. It's just packed with different techniques in it. We're using a palette knife to apply some paint. So there's a lot in this class, and what I like to do with my classes is not only give you techniques that you learn, but you can also carry these techniques to other projects as well. And my third class is, let me get the camera so we go out just a little bit, the Christmas lantern. This one turned out, I was so excited. I thought this turned out so pretty. Again, this one is packed with technique. I figured out a way pine cones have always been kind of a challenge for me. This one is super easy. The poinsettia actually is a stamp, and I used a paper doily to help create this lace table runner. So again, you're going to get a lot for your class. You're getting a stamp, you're getting a doily, you're getting the surface, you're getting a stencil. So great value for the classes, and the amount of techniques that you're learning is going to be priceless. Sandy is going to be giving information about her classes. I was excited because she is offering a journaling class. So you're going to get a journal, and you're going to get tools and all the information to create page after page. And remember what I said about playing and coming up with fun new techniques? This is ideal. So this is going to open the doors for a lot of creativity. Love the bicycle. Nobody does flowers like Sandy, and this one is just absolutely gorgeous. Look at that pink bicycle. Oh my goodness. She is not amazing? And she's doing her poppies, and she white poppies. This is really different. It's very difficult to paint a white flower. So again, these classes are just jam-packed with technique and information that you're going to not regret taking this. So again, the classes are opened back up. We did sell out, but we added more seats. So if you were on the waiting list, jump on. We have also opened a private Facebook group. So if you have signed up for classes, make sure you go to Zoom Summerfest 2020 and put your name in there to join that group, because that's where we're going to be posting a lot of our information in there. So you'll get that first. Emails will always go out, but the Facebook will be there first. Okay, so I think I've kind of covered everything. We did a fun little painting project. Hope you enjoyed that. And I wanted to fill you in on information with Summerfest, because that's coming up quickly, and we're excited about it and would love to have you all join us. Again, it's going to be an exciting event. We're meeting with painters from coast to coast and even across the world. So this is a great way. Can you imagine having to deal with all of this 20 years ago? We would kind of be dead in the water because everything is, I mean, we were still paying long distance phone calls. So think about the opportunities technology is providing for us, the access we have. Not only can you take the classes, but they're recorded so you can go back. I know sometimes in class people say they can't keep up. Well, you know, this gives you the opportunity to go back and slow down, paint, watch what you're doing, and then jump back in. So again, just a wealth of knowledge, a fun time, and I hope you'll consider joining Sandy and I for Zoom Summerfest 2020, www.cdwood.com. And thank you again for joining me today on Create with Chris. I hope that you picked up a few tips and tricks. I always like to keep passing on as many as I can to make your painting life a little less stressful, a little more fun, because that's what we do and what we love. So thank you again, and I hope you'll join me next week. Bye-bye.